Good morning, everyone. Today our lesson is on influence. Now, when I was told this about 2 weeks ago, I was meant to start preparing then, but, sometimes we get caught up and things happen and we're influenced by our daily lives. But I may or may not have written this a few minutes ago. But everyone is influenced, whether we'd like to admit it or not. In some way or another, we're influenced by the people around us and by the things that happen to us. So a few of the people that I chose to, as an example, for who influence me on a daily basis are obviously my parents. I spend every day with them. I go to school and I come home, and then I'm influenced by my parents because I spend so much time with them. 16 years almost I've spent with my parents. But they influence me in a positive way. And it's not only them, but there's so many other people that influence me as well, like football coaches, because I spend every day with them, and they keep on drilling these same ideas into my head to get me to be a better person. See, the people that I surround myself with are the people that should influence me in a positive way and that build me up. So I've got parents that influence me on a daily basis, and I've got a coach that influences me every day because I go after school for football practice. And then I've got here Spencer Helms, actually, I've got written here, and Chaz Dooley as well, because those guys have helped me through many tough times in my life. I mean, I know that I can trust them, and they influence me in a positive way. They just build me up, And those two guys, they are very influential people, but not only are they influential, they're influential in the right ways. I mean, when they walk into the youth room downstairs, everyone is just drawn to them. When they walk in, they lighten the room up with just their smile. I mean, it's amazing to see. It's actually really funny to watch. But one of the people that I've chosen in the Bible as an influential person is Joseph. I feel like Joseph was like that as well. When he walked into a room, I bet just his smile was enough to light up a room. I mean, it says here, Genesis 39, verses 1 through 4. You can follow me along. Genesis 39, 1 through 4. It says, "Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt. Potiphar, an Egyptian, who was one of Pharaoh's officials, the captain of the guard, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him there. The Lord was with Joseph so that he prospered, and he lived in the house of the Egyptian master. When his master saw that the Lord was with him and that the Lord gave him success in everything he did, Joseph found favor in his eyes and became his attendant. Potiphar put him in charge of his household, and he entrusted his care to everything that he owned." So the context behind this is that, of course, Joseph had been sold into slavery, and Potiphar bought him, and he was such a positive influence that within a short amount of time, he was very quickly brought to the top of Potiphar's household. And if you read a few more verses down, the incident with Potiphar's wife happens, and yet again, he's brought down to the bottom. We see that Joseph's life is just a roller coaster. And in all of this, again, we'll see right here in verse 20 of the same chapter, he says, Joseph's master took him and put him in prison. So now he's at rock bottom yet again, the place where the king's prisoners were confined. But while Joseph was in there in prison, the Lord was with him. He showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those he held in the prison. And while he was made responsible for all that he had done there, the warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. So Joseph, yet again, has been so positively influential to the people around him that he's worked his way back up to the top of the prison. And while he's there, in verse 41, if you want to follow there, chapter 41, verse 39, it talks about how, it says here in verse 39, Then Pharaoh said to Joseph, "Since God has made all this known to you," this is where he's been interpreting the dream, is no one so discerning and wise as you. You shall be in charge of my palace, and all of my people to submit to your orders. Only with respect to the throne will I be greater than you." So Joseph, yet again, has worked himself all the way up to the top. just by being influential to the people around him. He's a positive influence to the people around him. And the Pharaoh saw that. Everyone else around him saw this, and he was then brought to the top of everything. So what can we take from this? I got 3 points for you real quick, and I'll be done. A person of influence is someone that pleases God. A person of influence, you can see the light of God shining through them. They're a very positive influence to the people around them through God. The second point I have is that they're a great servant. And Joseph served many people throughout his life. He served Potiphar, he served the jail, and he served Pharaoh. I mean, as a great servant, you have a positive influence to the people around you. And my last point that I have is that a person of influence is very forgiving. So in chapter 50, it's a few pages over, verses 15 through 21, it's kind of a big chunk here. It says, when Joseph's brothers saw that their father was dead, they said, "What if Joseph holds a grudge against us and pays us back for all the wrongs we did to him?" So they sent word to Joseph saying, "Your father left these instructions before he died. This is what you are to say to Joseph. I ask you to forgive your brothers and the sins and the wrongs that they've committed in treating you so badly. Now please forgive the sins of the servants of God, your father." When their message came to him, Joseph wept. His brothers then came to him and threw themselves down before him. "We are your slaves," they said. But Joseph said to them, "Don't be afraid. I am in the place of God. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. No matter how we are influenced, whether we are negatively influenced by the people around us, we should look to God to be a positive influence to the people around us always.
If you thought that was the end of the sermon, you're wrong. You were like, wow, we're getting out here early today. No, you're not. I'm just teasing. Just a few more minutes. I want to thank Jake for doing such a wonderful job. He didn't just throw that together. Y'all know that, right? If he did, then he did a wonderful job. But last week's sermon was on procrastination, Jake. So I see I've influenced your life quite a bit. Anyway, good job. I appreciate you. And, Jake, he didn't want to say this. He mentioned, Chaz and Spencer. Jake has been a person of great influence in our youth group. Not long ago, he baptized someone that he went to school with, and he's been a tremendous influence. And so appreciate him so much. Jake and Tristan are our summer interns this year, our youth interns, and they're just doing a great job. And we just love them and appreciate them so much. I love what he said about his parents being 16 whole years, almost 16 long years they've been this influence on his life, and hopefully a long, long time they'll continue to be an influence. Influence, Jake said it, the influence of a life. Everybody influences someone. And